I never thought of myself as having an acting career. I sort of got into acting with college drama when I was, 19 at Oxford. A couple of plays in college gardens. Never did university drama. Well, probably my entire history would have been completely different, as it was for many people who went into university drama. Got very rich and famous, some of them. But that was it, 2 plays then, and then nothing for the next 18 years. Crab Island was a pretty demanding sort of thing, I suppose, really, yes. There was a lot going on, very physical. As often with palm tree films, a lot of script. It's a compliment to be asked to learn a lot of script, but it's also nice to have to do it in a very active way. We were moving around on that place of the Exmoor quite a lot. Up and down, roundabout, down to the beach, in the rain, you name it, bad, all sorts of tests and conditions applying. Oh, my sweet nettle is flotsam and jetsam. Goods lost at sea, either floating in the water or cast on shore. From being this rather strange, crusty old academic from the 18th century on Crab Island, Palmtree paid me the compliment of casting me as a Geordie, an aging Geordie villain operating up in Northumberland, which meant shooting in Northumberland, which was extremely nice, very pleasant. Great place to be, great place to shoot, lots and lots of scope, and a great place to be in between takes as well. We had some very good times there. But it did address one of my bête noires as an actor. I've always enjoyed doing accents, but the one thing I'd always studiously tried to avoid doing was a Geordie accent. I can't do Geordie. I can do all these other things, I can't do Geordie.
Look at us. An old man, a retard, and a bitch.
I don't normally work with scum like you lot.
Jackie, we're all just out the nick. We need each other.
I didn't know you were Jackie Shields' daughter.
In future, you do all-day breakfast like it says. All day.
What are you going to do, Lenny?
What should I do? Forget your fancy dreams. You're a tart, Kitty, just like your mother.
I never thought to check the bag after the count.
You'd rat your own father.
I hate him.
Just been an accident.
If he found out, he'd kill me.
There's something she should have told you.
Then came I Know What I'm Doing, which was a revisiting of I Know Where I'm Going, I think was the original movie, set in Yorkshire, basically. A romantic comedy, really. That was a nice shoot to be on. It was a good place to be. The actors all knew what they were doing, which is always nice. We had some nice locations, and I played a very ill-fitting character because the lead lady, played by Emily Burgle, fine job she did. We have to believe that her father is an English butcher.
June? Well, where are you?
I'm just around the corner. I just closed a big deal. Had to fight for it. It's hard with all that's happened with the banks.
Yeah, well, I'll come and meet you. Oh, it'd be lovely to see you.
Me too.
If somebody had told me when I was filming in the West Country or Northumberland that 2 years later I'd be flown to Estonia to make a movie, I'd have laughed in their faces. Come on, you're joking. But yes, we went to film the Third Falcon in Estonia, in the middle of Estonia, in Viljandi. Typical old Estonian town, not the stuff you see in Tallinn, but a small market town, quite Russian looking, and astonishingly only about, I think, 40 miles from the Russian border, by a lake. It's a sort of spa town, but the times we're living through now really sort of echo back through the making of that film. Being in pubs where a lot of the clientele were Russians, where you were aware that the Russian border was just over there, that the scenario was about the Russian threat fairly indirectly, or fairly directly actually. We were actually there making this movie. When all's said and done, Europe is a fragile conglomerate of peoples. It's got a lot of history to overcome.
What about Estonia?
Well, I love this country, but I'm not Estonian. It's been independent from Russia for 20 years. In terms of history, that's not very long. If they could make it 100 years, 500, 1,000, that would be a success. But we shan't be here to see it, so we're not responsible for it. It's up to people like Gert from now on. See you in London for a drink sometime. If somebody had told us when we were filming the third Falcon that 8 years later Ukraine would be invaded, you wouldn't have believed that either. So that was a very interesting movie to make.
You don't kill people, Roger.
It's a lie. Complete change of mode, really. Making a movie about stand-up comedians, or comedians. I suppose you're not allowed to call them that anymore. Female comedians. Female stand-up artists, with the lovely Susie playing the lead role. And somehow I got roped into that as, he was called Arthur something or other. He's a stand-up comedian, but it's one of those flattering moments that film directors sometimes give you. Say, you're going to be in this scene, you're going to do this. By the way, this is where you improvise. Sorry? You're a comedian, just improvise. That's thrown at the deep end. I have no recollection what happened, because somehow I managed to improvise some sort of what do they call it, shtick, in this northern working men's comedy club.
And they removed the continue to resuscitate order on me. Well, enough about my wife, folks. I've been at Arthur Douglas for longer than I care to remember. And you've been here.
Give it up for Arthur Douglas, a living legend. I think you are still alive, aren't you, Arthur? Oh, he's gone.
Good gig, Arthur.
Gig? Shit, I thought I were auditioning for Cats. Do you think they noticed?
You must have done a fair few gigs in London, eh? I've been a couple of times, nothing major.
Yeah, a bit, in the 70s. Different audiences, different world. Some time passed after I can't remember it was that long, but then up came Oh My God, which was an absolute gift. If you can imagine a combination of road movie, buddy movie, eternal triangle movie, travelogue, study of comparative religions, and a number of other factors as well, that was Oh My God. The premise was 3 damaged clerics, a nun, a priest and a vicar, which is always a good start for a story, making their way at the behest of the Bishop of Brussels to purge their various problems on the pilgrimage to St Patrick's Purgatory, which took us across from Belgium to all across England, through Avebury Circle, then through Lampeter, over the Irish Sea, way up through Ireland, and then we wound up in Donegal, which was also a great place to film. It's pretty difficult to get excited about anything, really. My teeth are worn down, taste buds are gone, the stomach rejects pretty well everything it gets. But you're right, it's not bad, considering it's cooked from frozen. I never thought that I'd be filming a part of an actual existing professor in his quarters, in his rooms, in Trinity College, Dublin. But that's what we did. And it was nice to be in a movie which I had absolutely nothing to do with the main plot, except for placing the title of the film, because the right bus came out of something that the principal character had learned from his professor in an anecdote, and we had to tell the anecdote. She took her hat off and introduced herself. It was instant love. Now, what would have happened if I'd got on a different bus that day?
You didn't.
No, it was the right bus.
You only knew that after you arrived at your
Yes,
destination.
yes, but the point is, if you don't get on the bus in the first place, how would you ever know it's the right one? No, it may be luck, it may be chance, but you have to be aware that the right bus exists.
Serendipity.
The key, my boy, is recognizing it.
Renfield. That's the part I played soon after that. Welcome to my house. Enter freely and of your own will. You need gypsies, you need garlic, you need bats, you need haunted castles, and you go to Scotland to do it. Of course, that's great fun, terrific stuff. It was beautiful countryside. It was the middle of the summer. It was scarcely any night at all. It was a wonderful place to be, completely in the middle of nowhere, and great fun to be filming in that part of the world with everybody staying in the same house, which is, well, there were one or two exceptions to that, but the basic idea of everyone being in the same house together is great, because the thing is a 24/7 experience that way. Wonderful.
We are gathered here in the presence of a dog.
Well, I'm originally a West Countryman, and I've been allowed a few times to use my native West Country accent. My mum preserved her accent completely throughout her life. It never went at all. So it's been fun to revisit it. I revisited it in Crab Island, and in a couple of other things I've done elsewhere. But it was the perfect fit for the Beehive. My granddad was in the First World War and was killed at Passchendaele, so it was a sort of a tribute to him as well. He presumably spoke very much like Barry Drone does in the movie. And that's a kind of slightly spooky, but a lovely thought as well.
What will it be? Another pint of that special bitter I got last week?
Where's it from then?
Wiltshire.
Wiltshire? You mean you get your brewery boys to lug your barrel all the way from that wasteland?
I'll not hear a word about our ale.
Don't be so shirky, Biddy Queen. I mean, Wiltshire? That'd be all of 50 mile. That's the far as Bristol and back. That's a long way to bring a barrel of beer. How to make a profit?
I won't talk money with you. You always asking for credit and all. You ever heard of a brewery suffering? It's us innkeepers. We be the ones to struggle on. Remember that snow last January? We had one customer in 4 days.
Yeah, it was me. And there's lots of celebration of the West Country way of being in the Beehive. There are all sorts of schemes being hatched and people being apparently dim about stuff, but knowing precisely what they're up to.
You need help for these hallucinations. On Monday, I'm going to get the Temperance Society to call on you.
Oh, no, don't you hand me over to the Methodists.
Seeing ghosts isn't right.
Mrs. Queen?
I'd push along if I were you, Bert. Think how lightly things have turned out.
There's some questions that need answered.
Not now, Bert. You can come back and ask them in the morning.
But...
Come on, Bert. I'll show you to the bottom of the garden. Come on, you old lech.
I'd say my experience of working with poetry is the best thing that's happened to me in my last 20 years. I've never had such good times acting and being places and doing stuff and being with people as I have with poetry. It's just wonderful. I could romance on a bit about it, but that's it in a nutshell. I put a few in these interviews here. Who would have thought? So many who would have thoughts. And there's always another surprise around the corner. And just keep going. Great.